The voice of Ramona Shelburne as we take a look at the Quicken Loans Arena the morning after. It was amazing last night, outside and inside. Believe land, you see, defend the land. That was the belief going into last night. Back here at Town Hall, we say good morning to Ramona Shelburne. Good to have you here. What stood out to you last night?
Well, look, you know, when you say defend the land, like they tried. Yeah. Man, the Cavs, that was like one of the best games of basketball in terms of firepower on both sides. Like, guys just having incredible games. LeBron and Kyrie, they brought it. And then you saw LeBron post-game, and he said, I've played a lot of teams. I've had, gone up against a lot of fire. I've never played a team like this. And he was in there talking, and you could see that look on his face, like he left it all on the court. Like, that was the best you're going to see of him. And he walks off the stage, and he was kind of telling us what's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's what LeBron does. He's kind of telling you where he's at and what's right. Like, hey, I left it all out there. That was the best, but they're just too good. And he walks off, and Steph and KD are in the holding room, right? So he's got to walk through the holding room, and they got to walk past him. And I just had this thought, like, wow, this is what it's like, right? You see the passing of the torch from the champions of the team that's probably going to vanquish them now. Up 3-0. It had that feel like LeBron gave it his best, and it wasn't enough because these Golden State Warriors are too good.
You mentioned the Warriors. I teased the unsung hero for the Warriors, maybe the guy who put the Golden State roster together. And you have a pretty cool story on him. Yeah,
Bob Myers, the general manager of the Golden State Warriors. When he took this job, there was one player on this current team. There's one player and one staffer who are still here. The player's name was Steph Curry. The staffer's name was Eric Housen, right? He's the equipment manager, okay? He took that and built it into this. And last week I had a chance to sit down with him in Oakland to talk about how he built this potential dynasty.
It's a great day for me, but what will be a better day will be when we get this team to a place where we're competing for a championship.
The Golden State Warriors are the 2015 NBA champions. Their first title in 40 years. The greatest regular season in NBA history now belongs to the 2016 Golden State Warriors.
I made a decision to come and play for these guys, and I feel excited about this opportunity.
They're going back to the NBA Finals for the third straight year.
If I would have said to 10-year-old Bob Myers that you'd be sitting right here as the general manager of this team, what would you have said?
No way. I wasn't one of these people that thought you can do anything you want. I'd love to sit here and say I thought that, but I didn't. I love basketball. It's the only thing I knew. So when I could go to a Warriors game, that felt like the pinnacle. To actually go now and be able to walk wherever I want. Sometimes I go to the games.
You're actually the boss.
No, I know. I go to the games and I seriously think I can walk over there if I want to. And I try to enjoy that.
But the Warriors were your team, right, growing up?
Oh, yeah. I grew up in East Bay.
Yeah.
My mom saves things, a lot of stuff. And then she said, I've got something you might want. And she brought out a Ziploc bag, and in it were 3 ticket stubs. And it was my first Warriors game. But January 15th, 1982. Remember the old tickets? They were kind of rectangular, right?
Yeah.
So this is the part they rip off and give to you, and you walk in.
Yeah.
They used to rip your ticket, which is,
Was it like a big deal for you to go to a game?
Huge.
$7?
These were...
Like, what could you get for $7
so you know,
now?
these are not like... these are the seats, upper level, diagonal, and I loved it. I had more fun at that game than these games, because I could just watch the game.
So then you become an agent, represent players. What was the difference between representing players and the job you have in it now?
When you represent players, you're not trying to necessarily build a group of players that fit together. You're trying to represent the best players you can, and as many as you can, and get them taken care of, get them paid, get them in the right situation. This job now, I've said this before, I don't know a better way to say this, it's kind of like a puzzle, right? When you build a team, you want these foundational pieces, like who are the cornerstones? And then after that, then you fill in the puzzle. And then through trial and error, just like building a puzzle, you then come to what you think works. That's what's exciting about it and fulfilling, is trying to make it cohesive, and that's what building a team is like.
I know you went through a really hard year personally last year. Did any of just the community feel here help you through that? Did the team help you through that?
For me, it was probably Steve. When my wife's brother, Scott, passed away, That was my moment in life where that kind of made me realize life is not what, you don't control things, right? You don't get to decide. Bad things happen, hard things happen, and it changes everything. The person we lost in Scott Dinsmore was someone that he actually appreciated every moment. I am so bad at that. We're in the finals. I have to appreciate this, win or lose the game. If you're at the point in your career where you're at the height, you better appreciate it.
And for the third straight year, Golden State is heading to the NBA Finals.
Jeff Van Gundy said, we can see the Warriors in the playoffs in the finals 8-9 more years with the core that you have here. Do you think that's possible?
We can only try, and my job and our job in the front office and ownership is to try to do that, build something that's sustainable. It's hard. It's not always adversity that takes people down. Sometimes it's success. We all have to be cognizant of that, but I hope Jeff's right. I like Jeff. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be wrong. Let's just put it that way.
Wow, that's a cool story. Two things stood out to me. One, we talked about appreciating. I think we can learn a lesson from that because we look at this team and we go, it's got to be bad for the NBA, the super team thing. They're really good. Let's just appreciate what we have and the majesty and the beauty that they do on the court. And the second thing is 8, 9, 10. How long can they keep this thing together?
Yeah, man. I mean, they're like, we've heard this before, right? So now we're talking 8, 9, 10. There was another guy who said we're going to win not 5, not 6, not 7 down in Miami, right? He's playing in this one now in Cleveland.
Right.
They won 2 in Miami. And I think that's kind of the lesson here, which is, you know, we all think these super teams can win forever. LeBron was like the architect of the super team, right? And now the super team is getting him here. And I think you look at this Warriors team, they're younger than that Miami team. They're deeper. You know, that Miami team, their fourth best player is never as good as the Warriors' fourth best player. Plus, this team right now, Steph Curry and KD can be free agents this summer. We expect them to be free agents. Steph will probably just sign the 5-year Supermax for $205 million. So he'll go from being one of the most underpaid superstars to being the $205 million guy.
Not bad.
KD, as I reported last week, is willing to take a little less if it helps keep the core together. So that means guys like Andre Iguodala and Shaun Livingston can be re-signed as opposed to the Warriors and Bob Myers, who we just talked to, having to go out and find somebody else to fill those roles. So Draymond and Klay, they don't hit free agency for another 2 years after that. They're not even eligible for extensions for another couple of years. So this core 4 and 5 and 6, that could be together for another 2 to 3 years at least.
Interesting to watch. Ramona Shelburne, thank you.
Thanks.
Good story. Good story. LeBron James says Kevin Durant is the reason, the difference from last year's finals to this year's. More on how KD ended the Cavs' Game 3 hopes with a 3 on SportsCenter all morning long in Cleveland.